warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to our beloved Dr. AISHAH BINTI Muhammad Noor and fellow friends. So today our group 3 will present the topic of the legal aspect of halal food product. Our group consists of 5 group members, which are me, myself, Nurul Huda Akila binti Abdul Razak, Ikhwanul Izzat bin Muhammad Shahar, Amirah Nabilah binti Azman, Amira Safiyah binti Ahmad Azli, and Umi Sofia binti Azri. Our main findings and discussion contain the acts or laws regarding halal food products, the responsible regulatory bodies, an overview of halal food product consumer rights, and the current issues regarding implementation and enforcement. The halal notion is addressed in Surah Al-Baqarah verses 172-173, indicating the necessity for Muslims to make constant attempts to protect and guarantee that this halal feature is preserved in all circumstances. Considering the global situation today, halal products are in huge demand due to expanding population and rising awareness. Regulations on halal manufacturing industry are critical since non-Muslim companies are also producing food products for the market. Therefore, the government and all parties related must establish a comprehensive and effective halal legal structure. For instance, the RMS 1500-2019 Halal Food General Requirement, third revision. This regulation is capable of protecting consumer rights and making them more confident in purchasing halal food products. Thank you. I will pass to the next.
Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. Good morning. My name is Amira Nabilah binti Azman, 2021-343429. Today, I'm excited to share insight into the act and law regarding halal food product in Malaysia. Halal, as many of you may know, refer to what is permissible in Islamic law, and it is not just a religious concept but also a crucial aspect of the Malaysian food industry. There is a 6 of a law regarding halal food product in Malaysia, which is Trade Description Act 1972, Food Act 1983, Animal Act 1953, Local Government Act 1976, Consumer Protection Act 1999, and Customs Act 1967. We go through one by one. Firstly is a Trade Description Act 2011, which was enacted in 1972, repealed in 2011, and replaced by the Trade Description Act 2011. The purpose of this act is to prohibit false or misleading trade description, including those related to halal claims. It is important for the protection of halal food because it paved the way for more comprehensive halal legislation in Malaysia. Among them is first, prohibit false labeling of a food as a halal. Product labeled as halal must meet Islamic requirement. Next is a penalty set for violations. And next is Empowerment Enforcement Agency, which is the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, which is MDTCA, overseas enforcement. And also Malaysia introduced the Trade Description Act 2011, which is related to halal. Example, Trade Description Definition of a Halal Order 2011, which is provide a legal definition of a halal food. And Trade Details Halal Certification and Marking Order 2011, which are mandating JAKIM, Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, as the main halal certification authority. Next is the Food Act 1983. Is a Malaysian law that aims to protect consumers from health hazard and fraud in the preparation, sale, and use of food. It's covered a wide range of aspects, including controlling the sale of unsafe food. The act prohibits the sale of a food that is contaminated, spoiled, or otherwise unfit for consumption. It also regulates the use of additive, preservative, and other food ingredients. Next is requiring accurate labeling. Food label must provide truthful and accurate information about the food ingredients, nutritional content, and storage instruction. Next is establishing food safety and standard. The Act established a standard for the hygiene and sanitation for food premise, the processing of a food, and the transportation of a food. Next is enforcing the law. The Food Safety and Quality Division of the Ministry of Health, Malaysia MOH, is responsible for enforcing the Food Act 1983. Inspector from the FSQ division have the power to inspect food premise, collect sample for testing and take enforcement action against offenders. Offender under the Food Act 1983 can be fined up to 50,000 or imprisoned for up to 5 years, or both. In the same cases, the maximum penalty is 100,000 or imprisoned for up to 10 years. Next is Animal Act 1953. It's a Malaysian law that covers various issues related to animal, which is regulates animal slaughter for human consumption, including halal slaughter practice, enforce human method of a slaughter and set standard for halal meat product, guarantees halal slaughter, adheres to Islamic principle and ethical consideration. The Act plays important role in Malaysia by first, protect public health, ensure animal welfare, regulate the animal industry, and preserving the integrity of halal food, which is the Act ensure that halal slaughtering practice are followed and certified, upholding consumer trust and religious sensitivity. Next is the Local Government Act. It's a Malaysian law that gives local authorities the power to regulate various aspects of a food premise, including those handling halal food. It plays an important role in ensuring the cleanliness and sanitation of the food preparation and storage environment, contribution to the overall quality and safety of a food halal product. Specifically, the Local Government Act 1976 empower local authorities to establish and enforce hygiene sanitation standard. This standard cover areas such as food handling practice, cleanliness of a premise, and proper pest control. Next, conduct pre-date inspection, which is this inspection can identify potential hazard and help prevent foodborne illness. Issuing and enforcing food handling license. Next is a monitor storage and handling of ingredient. This is especially important for halal food product as it help prevent the use of a non-halal ingredient or cross contamination with non-halal ingredient. And fifth, implementing a traceability system, which is a traceability system enable to tracking of a food product from their source to the consumer, facilitating the identification and removal of potential contaminated product from the market. Next is a Consumer Protection Act 1999. Plays a vital role in a safeguarding, specifically in relation to halal food product. It empowers consumer and promote transparency, ensuring they have access to accurate information and can seek redress if the rights are violated. How the CPA protect consumer of halal food? First is a combating misleading and deceptive product, which is a false claims. They prevent consumer from being tricked into purchasing non-halal food under the pretense of being halal, and also misleading labeling. Label must be clear and accurate, detailing ingredient, additive, and halal certification information, ensuring safety and quality, which is a safety standard. All goods, including halal food, must meet safety and quality standard, and also traceability. Next is a providing redress for grievance. Consumer who experience issue with halal food like false claims or unsafe product can file complaint and seek compensation under the CPA. Next is a tribunal for consumer claims. The Act established a tribunal where consumer can pursue their claims and receive fair hearings. This provide a legal venue for resolving disputes and obtaining justice. Next, promoting transparency and information access. Ingredient disclosure. This allow consumer to be aware of any non-halal ingredient and make informed decision based on their dietary restriction. Next, the Custom Act 1967 plays an important role in maintaining the integrity of halal food imports and export in Malaysia. It's control the import and export of goods, including a halal food product, and also prohibit the import of a non-halal food and enforce halal certification requirement. This act also facilitates the export of a halal food that complies with regulation and prevent smuggling or illegal activities. It is to provide several key rules to ensure that only halal compliant food product enter the exit the country, which is prohibit import of a non-halal food, enforcing halal certification requirement, which the custom department has the authority to verify halal certification for import food product by checking document, conducting audits, and consulting with JAKIM to ensure that only product with valid halal certification are allowed to enter Malaysia. Implement labelling and documentation requirement by complying with halal labelling condition. Next, preventing smuggling and illegal activities by conducting investigation and prosecutions, and improving traceability by tightening the traceability system. That's all from me. Thank you.
I'm Safia Binti Amazli, and I would like to continue to the next subtopic, which is regulatory bodies. In this video, we want to highlight 4 regulatory bodies, which are JAKIM, MOH, KPDN, and also DVS. The Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, as known as JAKIM, is the government agency responsible for regulating halal certification in Malaysia. JAKIM's role in halal certification includes establishing and implementing standards for halal certification. JAKIM's authority is derived from the Trade Description Act 2011 and Trade Descriptions, Certification and Marking of Halal Order 2011. The TDA 2011 and TDCMO 2011 has legal implications. It is an offence to import, export, sell or advertise food as halal if it is not certified by JAKIM or an authorized halal certification body. JAKIM has a number of enforcement powers to ensure compliance with halal standards, includes issuing warnings and notices of non-compliance, seizing and destroying non-compliant products, and lastly, impose a fine on the company up to 200,000 for the first offence and 500,000 for the subsequent offences. Next is the Ministry of Health plays an important role in ensuring the safety and quality of halal food products in Malaysia. The MOH plays a role in the following areas. Firstly, developing and updating halal food standards. The MOH works with JAKIM and other stakeholders to develop and update standards for halal food production, processing and labelling. Secondly, providing training and education on halal food. The MOH provides training and education programs for food handlers and consumers on halal food safety and hygiene. It does this through various legal implications, including the Food Act 1983. This act regulates the entire food chain from production to consumption. It empowers the MOH to set standards for food safety and hygiene, including for halal food. The Act also allows the MOH to take enforcement action against food manufacturers who violate these standards. The third one is Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living. KPDN is responsible for consumer protection in Malaysia. KPDN's role is primarily focused on consumer protection. This includes investigating complaints and taking enforcement actions against traders who make false or misleading halal claims. KPDN's authority is derived from the Consumer Protection Act 1999, prohibits false or misleading representation regarding consumer goods and services. This includes representations about the halal status of food products. The CPA 1999 have several legal implications for halal food products in Malaysia. First, it is an offence to make a false or misleading representation about the halal status of a food product, and second, traders must be able to give a proof of their halal claims with evidence. And the last one is the Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia, DVS, is responsible for regulating livestock and poultry in Malaysia. DVS role in halal slaughter includes establishing and implementing standard for halal slaughter, issuing halal slaughter license to slaughterhouses, and conducting inspection to ensure compliance with halal slaughter standards. DVS authority is derived from the Animals Act 1953 and Animal Welfare Act 2015. There are three legal implications, which are: it is an offence to slaughter an animal in Malaysia without a halal slaughter license. Slaughterhouses must ensure that their animals are slaughtered in accordance with halal standards, and also meat from non-halal slaughtered animals cannot be sold or advertised as halal. Next, I will pass to the next presenter.
And our view of halal food fraud, product consumer rights. In general, consumerism in Islam refers to any individual who purchases products or services to meet their own requirements for acceptable purposes. Malaysia has outlined the rights that should be available to the consumer, including basic needs, the right to safety, right to information, right to choose, freedom of expression, the right to compensation damages, the right to education, the right to a safe and healthy environment. To tally consumer rights in the context of halal fraud involve legal protections and mechanisms to safeguard consumers from deceptive practices related to the authenticity of halal food products. One of the common halal food frauds that has been occurring in Malaysia is mislabeling non-halal product as halal or falsely claiming halal certificate. So the main point is right to accurate info. Consumers have the right to receive clear and accurate info about the halal status of food product. These include details on ingredient, halal cert, and any relevant info that influence the halal authenticity of the product. Next is the right to genuine halal product. Consumers have the right to expect that product labeled as halal genuinely adhere to halal standards. This encompasses the entire supply chain from production to distribution and ensuring the product's integrity remains intact. Right to halal certification verification. Consumers are entitled to verify the authenticity of halal certification claimed by a product. This involves the right to access information about the certifying body, certification process, and the validity of the halal claim. Right to protection from fraud. Consumers have the right to be protected from fraudulent practices, including mislabeling non-halal product as halal. Legal provisions should deter and penalize businesses engaged in halal fraud, safeguarding consumers from deceptive practices. Right to whistleblower protection. Individuals who come forward with information about halal fraud should be protected from retaliation. Whistleblower protections encourage transparency and help uncover instances of fraud that may otherwise remain hidden. Right to redress and compensation. Consumers affected by the halal fraud have the right to seek redress and compensation for any harm or financial loss incurred. Legal mechanisms should facilitate a fair and accessible process for consumers to pursue remedies. Right to consumer education. Consumers have the right to be educated about halal standard certification processes and how to discern authentic halal products. Public awareness campaign and educational initiative contribute to an informed consumer base. Right to report and complain. Consumers should have an easy and accessible channels to report suspected cases of halal fraud. Reporting mechanism empower consumers to play an active role in upholding halal standard. Consequently, consumer right in halal food fraud emphasize transparency, authenticity, protection from deceptive practices, and avenues for consumers to seek redress and contribute to the integrity of halal product. Legal frameworks play an important role in upholding and enforcing this right.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. My name is Sofia Binti Azri. Today I want to discuss one of the important issue, especially within the Muslim community, which is the selection of halal and haram food. As we already know, with the development of science and technology, the food products produced are now more immediate, diverse and interesting. However, nowadays has brought about new challenges, particularly in terms of understanding the contents, properties, and physical aspect of the food we consume. In the recent news report, we see a concerning issue addressed by the government, specifically related to the manipulation of halal logos by certain sellers or traders. These individuals are allegedly deceiving consumers about the contents of their products. The second picture shows that there is gelatin pork in the ingredients that are stated on the packaging label. Next, move to the understanding the issue, which is rumors circulating about candies containing gelatin derived from pork. This raises questions about the authenticity of the halal logo as well as the halal certification, and the potential harm caused to Muslim consumers who rely on the halal logo that is not recognized by JAKIM. Next, the government response and action. Dato Idris Ahmad, the minister in the Prime Minister's Department who responsible for religious affairs, in response to this issue, he has issued a warning emphasizing the need for honesty and integrity in business practice, especially when it comes to the products consumed by Muslims. Furthermore, the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, which is JAKIM, will collaborate with the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, KPDN HEP, takes necessary actions against those involved in fraudulent practice. This reflects the government's commitment to addressing the issue at its roots and ensuring accountability. In conclusions, allegations about the manipulation of the halal logo by certain traders or sellers, particularly in the context of candies that are rumored to contain gelatin derived from pork, raise serious concerns about the reliability of products that meet the nutritional needs from Muslim consumers. Hence, it's vital for us to recognize the significance of maintaining the integrity of halal products. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ikhwan Al-Izzat. I'll be presenting one of the issues relating in halal food industry. So one of the issues I've detected is the inconsistency of fatwas in Malaysia. So as we know, in the Article 3.2 and 3.3 in the Federal Constitution, it states that the sultans and the YDPA is the head of the religion of each state. Hence, each state has their own muftis that have power to issue a fatwa. Currently, there are 14 fatwa committees in Malaysia, and in a country such as small in Malaysia has caused a confusion and hardship in navigating the laws. Some of the fatwa issues has caused a confusion as they have contradicting views. One of the inconsistencies in issuing fatwas that we can see is the issuance of a father's name or bin towards a child that is born illegitimate or born out of wedlock. The fatwa issued from the police, it is stated that a child that is born less than 6 months after his or her mother is married can be given his or her mother's father's name bin, except if it's being denied by his current father, while a fatwa from Terengganu, for instance, prohibits the child that is born out of wedlock to be named his father instead of given a name of Abdullah. It's one of many instances the inconsistent fatwas in Malaysia, and such small country in Malaysia in issuing different views of fatwa, giving a lot of turmoil in navigating the laws in Malaysia. So now we'll be shift our focus the inconsistency of fatwa. How does it bring issue or confusions in the halal food industry especially? So if we refer to the Trade and Description Act 2011, so the act define what is halal. So in the article 3.1 A, B, C and D, there are 4 there are word fatwas in it. However, it doesn't specifically mention to what states that is valid fatwa that one should follow according to this act. However, if we were refer to the federal constitution that I mentioned earlier and the Malaysian standards regarding to the halal, it is state that we must abide to the fatwa in the particular state, in the state where one is at. So one of the difference in halal food in issuing in fatwa we can see is firstly in the issuance of fatwa in Johor relating to the percentage of alcohol. The Johor fatwa issued that the permissible amount of alcohol is 0.01% only, while the National Fatwa Committee stated that the permissible percentage of food and beverage products is only 0.5% only. But it is worth note that the National Fatwa Committee doesn't have a power to enforce the fatwa, as the role of a national fatwa is just a mediating mediating place in among the fatwas in different states in Malaysia. The MKI or the National Fatwa Committee are not being vested by law to enforce, except as like a mediating bodies in regulating fatwas in Malaysia, or should I say calibration place. So in resolving this issue, firstly is to enhance the role of MKI or the National Fatwa Committee, as this body really has a non-purpose and become like a mediating role in issuing different fatwas in Malaysia. So by enhancing the MKI or the National Fatwa, it will better coordinate the fatwa issuance process. And secondly is to try to coordinate in methods in conducting research and issuance of fatwa among states. In addition, having collaboration on each of fatwa bodies in Malaysia. And next is to establish a national muftis and the office of national muftis. So in this regard, there will be only one mufti issued or decreed a fatwa. So there will be much more uniform the issuance of fatwa. In making this a reality, it will entail a very long and strenuous or a revamp of the law system in Malaysia. That is all for me. Thank you, everyone.
In conclusion, Malaysia is a country with a multiracial society and religion, with Islam as the country's official religion. So, matters related to halal food should be emphasized. Malaysia has enacted a comprehensive law which is an effort to regulate all aspects of halal food management. As a result, the effectiveness and successful implementation of Malaysian law requires due cooperation on the part of the authorities. Otherwise, various forms of concern with the manipulation of halal legislation will increase. I think that's all from our group. Thank you.